Whatever you say, people can hear you right now, Mitch. You're live. Hello, friends. Hello, Patriots. Welcome in. Robert Imbriali here. New show today. Something new, something different, something I've been thinking about for quite some time. Actually, to tell you the truth, the idea for this show actually brings us back to our roots of this channel, where we first got started, when we first started doing streaming on Rumble. YouTube, we were doing something different, but when we first started streaming on Rumble, we used to have these Thursday night gatherings, and we had sometimes 5, 6, 7 people that would pop on. At that time, I was just sending out the link to anyone. Hey, if you're available, pop on. And some of the shows went 4 hours, some went 6 hours. It was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of views. A lot of people just loved what we were doing. So this is kind of taking off in that direction. The idea is very simple. We get caught up sometimes in what is, you commonly call it an echo chamber, right? We have everyone who's thinking the same way, looking the same way, and looking at things from the same perspective. It doesn't really give you a well-rounded view of things. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we brought in people who maybe have a different way of looking at some of the same topics that we're all looking at, maybe a different perspective, a different angle, that kind of thing. So I thought that would be a kind of a good foundation for a new show. Now, obviously, not everyone looks at things exactly the same way, right? Our rules, our values, our beliefs are all different. A lot of that's based on our life experience, our lived life, if you will. And, so we're not 100% alike, but we want some different perspective on things, because the world that we're living in right now, it's confusing. I have people calling me all the time and emailing me on a regular basis about how challenging they're finding it. And we get it. We certainly understand it. Wouldn't it be great, though, to understand some of the things that are going on, maybe from a new perspective, maybe get a different view on things? Well, that's what this show is going to be about, and we're going to do this every Thursday. There'll be different guests on board. With us today, we have two great people, actually. Let me put guest number 1 on. He just popped into the room. Love to see that. Yeah. So this guy, he has been with us for some time. He's actually somebody I met in Las Vegas on Truth Tour number 1. And, he's been very much in the Patriot movement, making a big stink out of things. And he is looking right now. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what Mr. Bruce Poppy has been doing, but he's changing directions a little bit. And what he's doing is trying to help you with your mindset and try to live a more productive and happier life, because I think it's being squeezed out of us. I think a lot of people are moving in that direction right now. So without further ado, Bruce, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's fun to be here. Better late than never. Dawdling a little bit. I was like, oh no, it's 6 o'clock already. So yeah, no, I'm excited. This Thursday Throwdown sounds like an exciting, fun thing. So I'm digging the format and happy to be a part.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate that. And our next guest is joining us tonight. Good friend of mine as well. He's someone I've known for, I'm thinking 15 years. And he's been involved in almost every one of our December 30th events. They've been called different things over the years, but recently we've been calling it the Liberty Summit. And this guy is really intelligent, really brilliant. He brings a different perspective, a different outlook, if you will, on current events. And by the way, just so you know, he did speak at the Truth Tour when it was at my studio in Carlsbad. He's one of the speakers. So he's one of the Patriots, one of us. He's on our side of the aisle, if you will. And like many of us, pays very close attention to what's going on. And like Bruce and I want to help people take a different look at it. Take a deep breath, relax. We're going to get there. We're going to get to the other side. So Mitch Axelrod joins us tonight. Hey, Mitch, welcome.
Good to have you, and good to be with you, Bob. All right.
Good to see you, my friend. It's been too long. We have to get together again soon.
For sure. Hi, Bruce. Nice seeing you.
Mitch, how are things going over there in Mitchland?
Oh, Southern California, nothing to complain about.
Oh, we had an earthquake this morning. You didn't know that?
Oh, wow. I didn't hear that. I missed that one.
No, I felt something.
The last 4.4. It wasn't huge, and it was 48 miles north of where we are. So, yeah, you probably didn't feel much of it, Mitch, if anything, because you're much further south.
I didn't feel a thing.
Didn't feel a thing. No, not at all where you are. You're good. Yeah, so, you look at this week. This week has been rocking, huh? The 8.8 earthquake in Russia. Now there's followed by a volcano. And what in the world is going on with Long Island, New York? Getting deluged today.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you guys think? Do you think this is all natural, or do you think maybe there's something else going on?
My viewpoint, unpopular as it might be, is that it's probably a combination of both. They do weather manipulate, and whether what they've been doing is starting to catch up with them now, who knows? But the other thing that I have a beat on that really just resonates with me is the pole shift that is currently happening.
Oh,
the shifting of our poles is more of a natural occurrence, but we're way overdue for it. And if you're watching or paying attention to that sciencey kind of stuff, the North Pole is like racing, from its last location. It moves. It normally moves a little bit, but it's just going crazy moving, and this all the solar stuff. I mean, there's probably a combination of both weather manipulation and the catastrophic type of thing. I'm not saying the pole shift is going to be catastrophic. I'm saying it's bigger than what we assume it is.
Well, it could be part of what we've been calling the silent war that we've been in, and Mitch and I have been talking about this since 2019, since this all started in 2020, in March of 2020 when it first started. We've been talking about this on and off, and it's like, this war is underground. It's kind of hidden. We're not really seeing it, and occasionally we get little glimpses of it. What do you think, Mitch? Is this part of that, or?
I don't know. Part of me is yes, part of me is no. But it also it speaks to certain things we cannot control, and I try not to put too much energy into figuring it out, because it have so many hours in the day and so many years left and so many grains of sand left in the hourglass that I try to focus on things I have control.
Hey, don't you be talking about the hourglass now? Come on.
So things that are really outside of my control, I'm trying my best, and believe me, it's not easy with all the input we're getting. So that's part of what I want to talk about today is how do you kind of focus your attention, your energy on what you have, what you can control, rather than spending an inordinate amount of time on things you can't control. So I'll be neutral on this topic.
Well, we have quite a few topics to go through. I've got like 10 of them here picked out for us to converse about. What I'm looking for is your opinions on it, certainly, rather than, the old shows that we were doing is like we're kind of reporting the news. You don't really need us for that. Everyone's getting access to it. It's everywhere. You don't need us coming here doing that. What you need or probably want is maybe some different opinions, some different points of view, and that's what we're looking for from our guests here, just to give you guys a little bit of a different perspective. So, declassified Durham appendix shows Hillary Clinton personally approved Trump-Russia hoax and used FBI to put more oil on the fire. I think you put gas on the fire. Why would they say more oil on the fire? Interesting. Anyway, Bruce, what do you think about that one?
I mean, this is it's a big deal. How they end up using that information going forward. This is stuff that we kind of knew, but didn't really have any public disclosure of, in the mainstream as an accepted situation. But just being able to find that type of document, that type of incriminating evidence, is huge, because you would think, that these people, these spies, they got Shrek.
No, Bruce is frozen up on us here. Bruce has been struggling a little
Better,
bit with the
see
with
stuff like that
Starlink
laying
there.
around. It was fun, that was fun, you know.
Ah, you're back and you're frozen again. Come on. All right.
In a closet somewhere, and at the end. So
We're losing you, Bruce. You're freezing and coming back and freezing and coming
okay,
back.
all right. Let me try a couple of things.
Okay. Try to close down some of your windows or your browsers or whatever,
Yeah.
browser tabs. Mitch, what are you thinking about this?
Well, I think that things are starting to break open. What we've suspected and probably known intuitively for years is now the proof is coming out, and it's been hidden and suppressed, even in what bags. What did Bongino say or Cash say? It was, they found it in a dark room with bags or some kind. Crazy, right? So I think the old poop is going to hit the fan in a big way. And all of us who've been called crazy and conspiracy theorists, we're batting 100 now. So now we've got the proof. It's going to come out. The question is, what's going to happen? You know, are they going to really press charges like they should? Or are they going to try to stonewall? So I think now things are going to accelerate. You know, when Trump comes out and says it point blank and uses the word treason, that's a pretty bold proclamation. And he's not prone to make something like that without something to back it up. So I think the poop is going to hit the fan, and a lot of what we suspected and knew in our bones is now they've got the hard proof. And I think it's going to shake up a lot of people who are wedded to their beliefs and their ideology. And I think a lot of people are going to have a hard time accepting it. Yeah, but they didn't have the receipts like they do now. And what everybody was suspecting it, and we didn't have somebody in there who had the authority and the power to exercise that authority. So it's a big difference now. So you know, it's funny because it was always there. The evidence was there, but you couldn't unearth it. You know, it's kind of like a diamond in the rough. You know, it's cold, but unless you unearth it and you apply some pressure, it stays cold. Now you've got that coal turning to diamonds because you got the right pressure, and the evidence is just going to mount, I think. So that's my take on it. I think we're going to see some arrests. I really do.
I'm in agreement on that part. This is, you know, we've heard these different sayings all through this whole movement. You know, it had to be this way. Nothing can stop what is coming. We've heard all these different things, but nothing has ever came. You know, we've heard the you know, they have it all. You know, they've had it all for a very long time, but the timing and where we are now, all these different pieces had to be in place. We had to go through the 4 years of Biden. We had to, you know, go through all the stuff we've gone through. And now we're starting. This is just the opening salvo. And Mitch is 100% correct. Trump does not play games with this type of stuff. He's not going to throw around those accusations publicly, you know, unless he already knows he's going to win. This is, you know, the complete art of war, you know, situation. So now the tables are starting to turn. And this is just the opening part. This is what we have to do to get people acclimated, because it was, yeah, I think it was Mitch said, you know, people aren't ready for this type of, you know, disclosure if it all comes out at once. So it has to be this way, and it makes a lot more sense to me now. I read a couple of things. One of them was a Substack by Bioclandestine, and he was, talking about this is happening. It in air quotes, we wanted it to happen for a long time. Now this is just the beginning phases, and once this thing completely rolls out, it's over. What ends up happening? That's the big question. Nobody knows.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the natural reaction. There's a great quote from my favorite book was written as an autobiography of a guy named Dr. Robert Hartman. And he was a pioneer in axiology, which is the science of human value. And he came out of Nazi Germany. He was a magistrate putting Hitler's henchmen in jail until he put a bounty on his head. And he said, our lore is full of stories of men who have given up their lives for the sake of what they believe, what they think, what they have, or what they want. But how many have given up what they think, what they have, or what they want for the sake of their lives? In other words, it's very hard for people to give up their belief system because it becomes part of their identity. Carl Jung said, people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. And because the country has been so polarized, people became their beliefs are not just their beliefs. If you believe something and you have proof that your belief is incorrect, you say, well, I'll change my belief. But when your belief becomes your identity or part of your identity, it's very hard to give up that belief because it's like giving up yourself. And so I would think a lot of people are going to be very angry.
We're seeing it, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think we who have kind of been in the know for all these years, we have to be very gentle. We have to be very kind to them. It's not like I told you so. We can't gloat because they're gonna go through the 5 stages of grief. At the first stage is denial, and once you get through the denial, you get into anger. In fact, I talked about this in the Liberty Summit, and if you can't get through anger and get to bargaining, depression, and eventually acceptance, if you get stuck in any one of those phases, it's going to be a very hard road for people. So I think we have to, kind of lead in that respect and be kind to them and help them through it, because especially people we love and care about.
Bruce, what do you think?
No, that's exactly why the shift. You mentioned the shift when you were introducing me. I could see call it an intuitive thing, but this is where we're going and where we need to be. Those of us, this is like the last several years have been like a boot camp for us to re-educate ourselves, to unlearn some things, to begin to move through those stages of grief and get to that acceptance, and seeing maybe things are, different than what I have chosen to believe or was led to believe my entire life. And Mitch is 100% correct. I think that's some of the problem, is that many people's their beliefs and worldviews are tied so tightly to their own identity that making that shift is just head exploding. It's a bridge too far. Just can't get there. So they just tend to stay, in that particular phase. Most of the time, it's in the denial. They don't even begin the phases of getting angry because they don't want to move out that denial stage. Because with that acknowledgement of, some things maybe not the way that I really thought they were, just that acknowledgement requires some responsibility on their part to utilize what they've already known, or, once those rose-colored glasses or the scales fall off, once that happens, then what? So we've been training ourselves the last few years, and that's why the shift that I'm making into, more mindset, how we think, it determines what we see, and, utilizing the stuff that we have known, how our brain works and how we can assimilate, and, how do we figure all these things out? That's the next phase in this thing, and that's where I'm trying to set myself up to being a part of that.
When an earthquake happens, it's interesting how many people literally get rattled, for lack of a better word. They get rattled. And why is it that they get rattled? Because what they believe to be solid, firm, supportive, all of a sudden starts moving unexpectedly, right? They start rattling back and forth. It takes them a long time to recover. Now you could picture that same thing with somebody who's been believing that our government did, everything that we've been taught in school, we're the least corrupt country in the whole world. Our government is honest and yada, yada, yada. And now their foundation, because that's the foundational belief that we were all given, drilled into us right in our school system. And now we come up and we wake up and we look at this and we go, oh my God, this corruption is unreal. I mean, Mitch is right. The fire hose is opened up now. They've opened the nozzle full bore. We've got all this stuff coming up. And it's hard even for us who are in the know in this to keep up with it all. It's like every hour there's another drop. There's another thing released. There's another lawsuit. There's more documents, and Tulsi's back on the air again. You know what I mean? And it's just like, how do you keep up with it? So you can clearly see that a lot of people are going to be rattled. And I think, like Mitch said, we've got to be kind. We can't go into the "I told you so." Damn, is it tempting though? It's like, come on, I told you so. Why didn't you wake up 5 years ago? We can't go there. We've got to be kind and have the conversation. So, Mitch, if you were to have the conversation with somebody who was just waking up, this might be really useful for some of our listeners today. What would you do? How would you start that conversation with them without confronting them, without being too aggressive?
Well, I guess having been through a lot of physical ailments and having to accept things that were almost unacceptable, going through denial and anger and bargaining and depression, which is that's the big hole, when people come to realize that their worldview is shattered, their beliefs are shattered. I could see a lot of people going into depression. So I think we kind of have to identify where they are in the 5 stages, because you can't deal with somebody the same way who's in denial and anger as somebody who is kind of in depression, because it's all come upon them. And now they're in a kind of a deep hole. So I think you have to kind of find out, where is their head at? How do they feel emotionally? And we're all coaches here. We all do coaching, and we've been coaching. And a big part of coaching, it starts with empathy. You have to really feel, because we've all been in that state in some way, whether it's politics, culture, education. We've all had our beliefs and our expectations shattered. So we kind of all know what that feels like. This is going to be an extreme, because, people, when they get really strong in their beliefs, Robert Austin Bolt, who's a screenwriter, he said, belief is not merely an idea the mind possesses. Belief is an idea that possesses the mind. And so when people are, on extreme beliefs, and they're unwilling to take other beliefs, and then all of a sudden their whole belief system is shattered, I think you really kind of, have to act as a coach, whether you've been a coach or not, and be, find out where people are at, and basically say it is okay. It's a natural progression to be angry, to be depressed about finding out that somebody you trusted with your life has deceived you. And it's something we've all been through.
I think,
So
we say that that we've all been through. I mean, Bruce and I had this conversation a while back. It's like we all grew up left leaning because we were indoctrinated in school, right? We came out of school probably leaning on the Democratic side. It was harder for me to figure that out because I was in Canada, but it's still the same thing. Still the two-party system there. It's similar. And when you start waking up to what's really going on, and of course getting into business wakes you up really quickly. You know what I mean? You realize the government's not on your side when you're in business for yourself. But yeah, we've all been through that awakening process, if you will, and I know a lot of the viewers who are watching this show today have been through it as well. And I think one of the challenges, and Bruce, I'm going to direct this one at you. One of the challenges that I see more and more is people are craving community. More so now than ever, because they can't talk to anybody. They still feel isolated.
Yeah, that is true. And that's been a planned situation, I believe, over many decades, that we have become further and more distant. That sense of tight community, even within our neighborhoods. We talk about community, just us joining together. But even as an example for myself, I lived in a cul-de-sac in Florida in a villa. And it was years before I was able to meet and know who my neighbors' names were, living in a cul-de-sac.
Wow.
So I mean, we've been conditioned in the busyness and the hamster wheels and the having to have, mom and dad or double house incomes or two jobs or whatever. You're just constantly on that hamster wheel of life, and we've that's just been a symptom of that bigger problem of lack of community. And yes, COVID made it even more made us more desirous, because humans, we desire that interaction, that that cohabitation. We're not solo or singular beings, so we need each other. We're already connected to each other, whether we know it or not. But COVID made that worse with the 6-foot stuff, the lockups, and people are still coming out of that. That was a pretty traumatic situation. And building this community. So yes, we, and the way also society, it's a societal thing too. They don't want us to talk about this stuff, because if you do, then all kinds of craziness and violence can happen to you just by speaking your mind and your truth nowadays. So, that's unfortunately where we're at, and we need to fight harder, against that type of stuff, because that's not the overreaching or widespread attitude of most people, but the way that the media and social media portray that type of stuff, that's like happening all over the place all the time. So people are fearful, and that's an intentional manipulated fear that they put us into to be in the situation we're in.
No question. Hey, I'm going to take a quick break and talk about our sponsor of this show, Matt Geiger, talking about uncertainty. If you want to get into precious metals, gold, silver, you want to go a little bit further, platinum, or some people prefer lead, I understand. We don't know what's going to happen here. You can reach out to Matt, veritymetals.com/renegade. There's a free ebook you can download there. Bruce also has a link, and it's veritymetals.com/poppy, Poppy. And the same ebook is there as well. Or you can give Matt a call, 480-717-9081. We thank Matt for sponsoring our show today. All right. Pelosi claims she and her husband don't engage in insider trading.
I think she's trying out for that new opening on late night show or something that's happening. I don't know what's going on there.
She earns $174,000 a year and is now worth $413 million. And by the way, she has won every election for the past 35 years. There's no corruption here, though. Go look the other way. Go.
Yeah, I don't know nothing. My husband does all that. As he's getting hammered, literally. But that's just crazy. I mean, the Pelosi family has a higher win percentage in the stock market than Warren Buffett. Come on.
Yes, they do. They do.
There's even an app. Somebody put up. There's a. I can't remember what the name of the app is. I have to look it up. Maybe somebody knows. Can put it in the chat. But you can actually track. It's a Pelosi tracker to track their stock trades, so you can get in on the action.
I love that. I need that app. What do you think, Mitch?
Well, yeah, not only is there an app, there's a whole community that follow her trades and mirror her trades. I kind of laugh. She was on Jake Tapper, and she wanted to talk about something else.
Yeah.
First question he asked her, and you could see she just turned red. He gave an answer, and she said, "I'm not here to talk about that."
Yep.
You
I saw that
yeah.
video. Yeah.
You could tell their feelings, not just this time. Most any time that's ever brought up in the past, which is brought up a lot, that for insider training, yeah, she comes completely unglued.
Yeah. You know, to me, that should be jail time. That's criminal. And that she's unapologetic and downright defiant about it. It just makes you realize that there's a whole generation of politicians that I hate to say that I'm in that generation, the boomer generation. I can't wait till they go because they've been so corrupt for so many decades, and it's only the last 5
She
years.
was at JFK's inauguration. I mean, she's been in Washington a long time.
Well, I don't know how that's a really long time.
It's crazy.
She got in at 28. She's 80 something now, so good 50 plus years.
Yeah.
So she's had a lot of time to accumulate those shekels. Yeah. So, I just you think about, all right, she's old, Hillary's old. They're not going to perp walk them, but I think there's a part of all of us who would just love to see.
Well, you think they're not going to perp walk them? You really thinking that?
I don't think they're going to do a Roger Stone at 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. I just don't think that's going to happen. As much as I really personally, I'm not vindictive, but just the idea that they've gotten away with it so long.
I know.
That it'd be nice to see somebody, just one person, get a perp walk, just to kind of say, okay.
Well, Bannon was screaming for that this week. I mean, on his show, he was like, we just need to see one. Just perp walk somebody, anybody, even a low-hanging fruit. Take something. We're waiting.
I think it would just take one. I mean, that's going to start the ball rolling. But, I mean, you would just think about it as a deterrent from future people getting into those situations. If you just hold one person like publicly, hugely accountable, for this, that's going to jerk the slack out of a lot of other people, and because in reality, the reality of the situation is if all the truth and all the charges and all the trials started at one time, there's no government. So that's why I think people lean towards the military option and the martial law, because if that ends up happening, we can't have a functional government, because they're all of our criminals. They're probably on one out of the 400. What is there? 37, 38 in Senate and the House, and just those. They're criminal and corrupt. Probably on one hand, I can count the decent ones.
So perp walk or no perp walk, Bruce?
Oh yeah, I'd say perp walk, and they probably need to put a gallows on the front lawn of the White House, and take care of some of these sentences for treason that need
Bruce,
to happen.
tell us what you really feel. Come on, don't hold back.
It's just, well, I mean, look what even just take away all the children's stuff and that whole the satanic ritual type stuff. Take just the criminality from them stealing and keeping us essentially slaves without chains, and making us think that everything's puppy dogs and rainbows. That's criminal enough for me. The people should be fed up enough, and I think that's where we need to go. And hopefully we can get there. We get the numbers of people to buy in for some type of wholesale change, because we're not going to fix by voting somebody else in, even if they put term limits in and got rid of all the dinosaurs and the relics that of the swamp creatures over there.
So let me ask you this question then, both of you, because we're onto a good topic here. Why the delay, number one, and do you think when the arrests, if they come, I'm kind of on the fence about that. I've been burned too many times in the past to really say it's absolutely coming. Yeah, I've read the Q posts. Yeah, I've read a lot. You know, the Michael Jaco. I've read Ben Fulford. I've read all of that stuff. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. But until it's here, I'm going to be on the fence. Do you think it's going to come all at once? Do you think once it starts, it's going to snowball, or maybe it just kind of trickles the way it's been going right now? What do you think?
I'll go first. I believe it's going to be a kind of a flood trickle, a long drawn out thing.
That's called a flickle.
A flickle, yeah, it's going to be a flickle. Because if you were to go through the wholesale change that really needs to happen, that would just be too chaotic and too much potential, you know, just logically thinking in my brain, for more collateral damage than what's already happened. You know, so in a more controlled release thing, but it's not going to be resolved, you know, in the next, before the midterm elections. You know, I don't know. I mean, the wheels of justice do turn, they say, but they turn really freaking slow.
How about you, Mitch? What do you think?
I actually think that it's going to be a handful of high-profile people, and it is going to happen before the midterms. I just feel that if it doesn't, the people on the MAGA side are going to be freaking out because, you know, there comes a point where when the evidence is clear, you've got to make a move. And if you don't, when you have the evidence and you don't make a move,
and you're in power.
Yeah, and then there becomes suspicion. Why aren't you making a move?
Right.
You know, it's the line is nobody is above the law. We've been hearing that for 5 years. And I agree with that. Nobody is above the law. But that's not true. There have been many people above the law. Most of them, as it turns out, I mean, whether you're on the right or left, you have to admit, the ones that have been above the law are on the left side of the aisle. And until and unless somebody, and preferably somebody with, you know, some prestige and a big name. So I think you're going to see, you know, a handful of big people at the first. This is not going to be, you know, low hanging fruit. Let's go for the foot soldiers and work the way up, because the evidence that's coming out is coming out from the top down, and it's clear. There's no question about it. So I think it's going to happen before the midterms, or the people on the MAGA side and the Republican side are going to go absolutely batshit crazy. And then they're going to get defiant and they're going to get angry. Because, you know, it's like, well, how much evidence do you need before you actually arrest somebody? So I really believe we're going to see it between now and, you know, the end of next summer for sure.
The funniest part in all of this is that it's coming out from not a Republican. It's coming out from a former Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard. Right?
Well, that just shows you the labels are BS.
They are.
This binary matrix that they want us to be a part of is just, that's one of the things we need to break out of.
See, that's why you're here, Bruce. That's the reason you're here. Breaking out of the matrix.
That's it, man. We have to. I mean, and that we're glitches in the matrix. And you know, I was reading some things, and this maybe get off topic a little bit, but the controllers of this matrix, they realize and know that people are going to be waking up, but they have other contingency plans, and they put us into some other simulation where we get, you know, the echo chamber type thing, and we feel like we're getting stuff done, but we're really not. And so it's still a game. It goes really, really deep, and it's not even for today's show. But I've been thinking about that lately, and there's this, you know, where we're at. We got to pull back and not be so myopic in what we're looking at. The comparative bias and the things that go on. We need to pull back and have a larger view than what's, you know, right in front of us.
And we've got to recognize too that there's misinformation and disinformation on our side too, right? Yeah. From a lot of the truthers and stuff like this, stuff is being fed to them as exclusive, and they'll put it out there right away. You remember we were in Anaheim and we had that meeting with Juan O'Savin, and he gave us a bunch of stuff and he said, "Don't publish it." And there were some in that truther community went in the hallway immediately and went live and started talking about it, right?
Yep.
So we didn't do it. We knew it's like, no, we're not going to do it. And it turned out not to be real information. It turned out to be, literally it looked like a test to me.
I think it was. I think
Who
it
are the
was.
ones that were trustworthy, right? That's really what it looked
I,
like.
I'm not going to lie to you. I wanted to run out in the hallway and do a live and share the information, but no, I held my powder, but some other people weren't as restrained as I was.
And what you have in our community too is you have people shooting at each other verbally, not physically, but shooting at each other. And this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. That guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I got this intel. I got that intel, and it weakens the whole narrative, the whole message when we have that, because we're not unified, right?
Right. Yeah, and there's major fractions for sure. Mitch has even talked about it. I mean, just look what happened a few weeks ago about the MAGA people getting their panties on the wad over the Epstein stuff. Man, they were calling for Pam Bondi and Cash's head. They were done. They said get them out. We want Matt Gaetz or somebody else like that in there. So I mean, yeah, the MAGAs they're on the edge, and if we don't get some a bone thrown our way.
That's the thermometer of frustration, right?
Oh yeah.
So the closer we get to what Mitch is showing, the explosion, we're getting close to that, and the frustration's getting up. And the only way to temper that right now is we need to see some action. Action. We want action, right? And we have to see that. And if we're not going to see it, I think Mitch is onto something here. We're going to see it in the streets, which is where we don't want to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And regardless of whatever political leanings you have, if you're a person who believes in fairness, and somebody has clearly got evidence against them for wrongdoing, no matter how much you want to believe you're on their team, if somebody on your team has committed fraud or worse, in this case, way worse, then you question, all right, do I put my team above, humanity here? Because now you're confronted with something far beyond a belief system. You're confronted with something I call, saving humanity from vanity and insanity. You got insanity and vanity out there, and is your vanity going to not permit you to say, you know what? They do deserve to get the punishment they deserve, or will I just root for my team no matter what? And I think with the polarization in the country, there's a whole lot of people on both sides that do root for their team regardless. And I see it more on the left than the right. I see more people on the right who are willing to confront wrongdoing on the right, whereas for some reason, on the left-leaning ideology, people are like, my team or nothing, and they'll go down in flames rather than say, you know what, we got to be fair. So, I think it's a powder keg.
My desire to be well informed is currently at odds with my desire to remain sane.
Yeah.
Kind of where we all are, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And just a quick shout out in the live chat on my channel to 1959 Vintage, a brand new follower. Just was on the phone with them. One of the reasons I was late was and turned them on to the channel. So welcome, Vintage. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, we have a lot of great people in our chat room. Joey is chiming in, and he wants to see perp walks, and this we're all kind of on the same. We're kind of fed up. Hey, 2 words for you guys, and I want your opinion. First word is Tulsi. Second word is Gabbard. Mitch, you're up.
I think she's really stepped up. Nobody expected it. A lot of people were feeling as though she was kind of a hidden enemy. But I think she's got a good chance to be the first female president.
Wow. That's the amazing accolades. How about you, Bruce?
No, she's been badass. She got a lot of guff, when they first nominated her, but she's always been that, center-ish, almost independent Democrat. She wasn't hardcore, being from Hawaii. Her military, but she's just badass as far as just a human being, and her military, her surfing and everything else. So I've been super happy with her performance in that position. Like I said, a lot of people were giving her guff and grief, saying she wasn't qualified. A lot of that was coming from the left, but I'm super happy with what she's done. And she's smoking hot too.
Yeah, the left didn't really want to lose her to the right, and I was following her actually when she was a Democrat, and interesting to be a Democrat from Hawaii and lean right, which just didn't make any sense, right? Those dots simply don't connect because Hawaii is very, very deep blue, and to have her there, it's kind of interesting. But I was following her back then. I think Mitch and I had this conversation. It's like, you know what? If there was any Democrat that would step up, I always thought it would be her. And certainly she is. And now she's promising to drop bombshells on 2020 this week. Well, this week is tomorrow, right? So it's going to come up pretty soon. Well, she did some drops. I think the first drops were on the Epstein stuff. I think it was on a Sunday. She went on the Sunday shows. So it's possible that something drops on the weekend. And she says, it'll wake us all up on what really went on in 2020. Looking forward to that, right?
Yeah. Well, they a lot of people, 2020 isn't over, so we'll end up seeing. I mean,
can you sing it, Bruce?
Yeah. No, I won't.
No. Okay, well, we'll get Juan on here to do it then. Okay.
But a lot of the stuff that they're talking about with this Russiagate leads all the way back through there. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it sounds really tinfoil hat-ish. But a lot of these things, all these threads are connected at some point or another.
I think I've seen that in the chat room 3 times today. All the dots are connecting now.
Yeah.
People are
they're connecting, but everything is connected.
Yeah.
You pull out one card, or it's like a Jenga thing, right? You pull out the one block, and the whole house comes down.
So it goes back. I'm seeing 2015, maybe even earlier than that.
For the this criminality that we're talking about with these particular individuals, yes.
Right.
I mean, when the Ukraine thing that goes all the way back to 2014, and Obama's hands are dirty.
That goes
with that
back
thing.
to Bush W. It goes back, that far. Yeah. No, it goes way back.
I mean, so there's multiple layers of this, but it goes, it's deep. They call it the swamp is deep. Is not it's not hyperbole.
What's going on with Russia? They're in, they're out, we're friends, we're not friends. Kind of hard to figure out, isn't it? What do you think, Mitch?
I think they're fatigued. I think this war has gone on way too long. They expected it to be a, one and done kind of thing. Now, what are we, 3 years now, or 2.5 years, almost 3 years?
Yeah.
I think they're depleted. And I think, when you think about the next world, the evolving world, instead of having enemies, I think they're going to wind up being start as a trading partner. But I think in the next 5 years, I guess maybe it's my hope, is that the old mindset of East versus West is going to melt into a world where people want to get along. And I even think that's going to happen here, although people will go kicking and screaming, the left, the right, Democrats, because I don't see what Trump has created as really being Republican. I think it's a new iteration where there's more truth to it.
I like this observation. I like this.
I really do. I think because if you look at just the idea that Kennedy, Tulsi, even Elon, all lifelong Democrats, they're not Republicans now. And they're probably, well, I guess they're MAGA, you would say. But when you think about it, they were drawn to the policies, the fairness, the equity. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to melt away from hard left, hard right. And of course, the extremes are always loud, forceful, demanding on both sides.
Right.
But I see more people are moving to say, hey, let's kind of center the ship, instead of the ship bouncing to the left and bouncing to the right. I think we need 5 or 10 years where there's kind of smooth sailing. So that's what I think is going to happen with Russia. And it may even happen with China.
It looks to me as like Russia is not willing to give up the war because they're so close to capturing, was it Donbass, that big town that they've surrounded on 3 sides now? And it looks like they feel like once they get there, maybe then they'll be open to negotiating. Who knows, right?
Yep.
Any comments, Mr. Bruce?
Well,
Funny you should mention.
Funny you should ask. The whole Russia being our enemy thing, I believe, has been like a psyop from the very beginning. It's been propaganda that's been pushed down our throats by the government, because you can't, you got to have a good and evil situation, right? The whole law of polarity situation. So they planted that into our consciousness. But that Russia's evil, big and bad, Putin's the devil incarnate. I just believe that's a bunch of bunk. It's not as bad as what they make it out to seem, or what they want us to believe. But this whole war thing, because that would, you got to look at the history and the all USSR and how Ukraine was essentially stolen from there and back and forth, blah blah blah. So there's attitudes, or there's mindsets and viewpoints from both sides. You got to go back in a lot of history. But I think, like Mitch, everything is going to smooth out. And we're going to, more go along to get along, and there's not going to be this adversarial relationship, and we have to have some evil opposing thing so we can look good.
Excuse me. Need a little sneeze there?
Well, God bless you.
Thank you. You know what they say, if he won't, nobody else will, right?
Yeah, I think... I know my generation has war fatigue, and you get to a certain age and you get tired of battling. You just want to have some peace and tranquility. And I think younger, we went through, I was drafted for Vietnam. Thank God they went on hold before I could report. I didn't have to go. But it created a tremendous dilemma for me, because you didn't have too many choices. You had 3. You could enlist or get actually drafted. You could be a conscientious objector, which they really didn't look kindly upon, or you could go to Canada. And none of those options appealed to me at all. So I think our generation has got war fatigue. I think the younger generation doesn't want to be fighting wars. I think it's an anachronistic philosophy. And one thing I really think Trump is doing, that no matter how much you hate him, they're going to have to accept that if you're a trading partner, and if you can conduct commerce with another country, it's like, I don't have any enemies in Iran, or in one of my best friends, 2 of my best friends are Iranian. I don't want to fight the Iranian people. Russia, I'm half Russian. So I think this whole idea of, like you said, Bruce, polarization and having an enemy, I think our Gen Z may be the first generation to see a coming together of the world. And just the idea that when you're, codependent on trade and you're interdependent on commerce, why do you want to battle? And eventually, war hawks will die off, and they'll be replaced by people who are anti-war. That's my way. That's my hope.
No, that's 100% true. I'm seeing that shift, or feeling that shift as well, where it's more of the word that comes into my mind. It's more of a hippie-ish vibe to it, the whole love, peace, love and light, that whole spiritual ascension type thing is coming to the forefront. And, one of the things that we as you break out of the matrix and go through those stages of grief, is understanding that a lot of these wars that have happened almost since the dawn of time have been, on purpose and used to help control people and keep other people wealthy. And it's not about the fighting for land or, things like that. There's other purposes behind it, not what they portray it to be.
It never is what they portray it to be.
We're spreading democracy, and it's all about resources, money, and power.
Yep. Speaking of money and power, Trump slashes 25% of the IRS workforce with buyouts, firings, and nearly 26,000 agency staff. But didn't we hire 87,000 under Biden?
That was a big, huge deal, and I'm not sure that ever happened. I mean, they allocated the money, but did they really happen? Did they actually pull the trigger, so to speak? I know that there was a big guff a year or two ago about that 87,000, and that they were being trained, like military commandos. So I don't know if that ever happened. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't think they hired 87,000.
Because they got rid of 26 out of 87, so that still leaves over 50,000, right? Or 50. We're still in the plus. We're not in the red yet on the IRS. So if they did 87 and got rid of 26, 26, we're great, we're heroes. But yeah, there's still 50,000 that they still need to get rid of.
Yeah, I heard that out of the 87,000, they didn't hire quite 87, but they hired somewhere near about 40 or so. So we're still positive. It's bigger now than it was, before Biden took over.
Yeah, the thing is, how to deal with collection agencies. You just don't engage with them in any form or fashion. You don't volunteer any information.
Very true. Very true. Hey, I want to let you guys know a couple of things. Actually, 3 things I should share with you. First of all, my website here, renegademedia.tv. Go get signed up. Get on the email list. It'll keep you informed of what we're up to. And if you want to follow Mr. Bruce Poppy, there's a YouTube channel now called The Bruce Poppy Show. You ought to sign up for that, subscribe there, and keep up with Bruce. And he's going to be doing a lot of mindset stuff going forward. So it's going to be a lot of fun what Bruce is up to. And if you want to follow my buddy Mitch, soulrollgold.com. And you can get information there about what Mitch is up to. Some free training, too. If you like what Mitch is bringing to the table here, which I think a lot of people do, you could find out more about him. soulrollgold.com.
I love that. I love that name. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Mitch does a lot of good work. So we were talking about the burn bags earlier. FBI Director Patel found sensitive documents on Trump-Russia probe buried in burn bags. My first question is, they're burn bags, why haven't they been burned?
Yeah. What else was in there, too? That's
yeah. And how long have these burn bags been sitting there? I'd have to fire the guy who's supposed to collect them and burn them.
Yeah. No, that's the mind-blowing thing that you buy. This is just, I believe, a way for them to introduce the stuff they already had. They didn't just stumble across this stuff in an office closet somewhere. Oh, look at this. What is this?
That's what they're trying to tell us.
Right. That's what they're wanting us to. But I don't believe it. I just don't buy that story. I'm glad that they're bringing forward the evidence, but how they came across it, I call BS.
Mitch?
I don't know. When you think about that building,
Mitch has got news fatigue. This is what this is. It's like, I don't even know what to believe anymore.
I take everything with a grain of salt, because
that'll give you high blood pressure. I mean,
as long as it's Himalayan, or what's the other stuff? The gray salt, the Celtic sea salt.
I do Celtic salt every day with by hydrogen water. I'm in good shape.
You're in good shape.
But it's funny how they use terms. Like, why would they use a term called a burn bed, right? And why would they come out with that term, burn bed? All right, so I think everything kind of has a motive to it. Why didn't they just say we found these, whatever, in a closet, whatever it was? So they've got to name everything. Everything has to have a name. So that's for marketing purposes, I guess, and persuasion, and creating an image so that the media has something to to hook onto. But I'm not surprised that stuff was buried, hidden away. You know, you go, I mean, people were calling for Bon Jovi, Cash, Bondi. You walk into a swamp that's massive, and you have no idea what's in that swamp.
That's right.
Metaphorically and actually in reality. And when Bon Jovi,
Not him.
by Jordan.
John, we're not talking about you, my friend.
When Dan posted that on X that he's seen things that, you know, got to his core, that made me think, well, wait a second. You know, finding burn bag wouldn't do that. What is it that he's actually seen that's got him that spooked? Because he was pretty robust in his days as a podcaster, that nothing would faze him. You know, so I really wonder if a lot of this is spin. So I try not to get too high or too low with whatever they say. But I do really believe that there's stuff been hidden away. Even the people that were supposed to burn the bags couldn't find them, you know? Like, so I don't know. I think this swamp is so wide and so deep that little by little it has to be drained. And we're impatient, you know? We want it yesterday. And rightfully so.
Well, you know, the truth that we've been hearing again and again is we've been told that even those of us, quote unquote, in the truther community, in the know, who follow all this stuff are going to be shocked by what we find. And Bongino is a great example of that, right? He put out that post earlier this week, you know, saying he was shaken to his core of some of the corruption that he's seen. You know, and you know, we know, you know, we go with the child trafficking stuff and the child sacrifices and the satanic stuff, and we kind of aware of it. But what if it's one of the good guys that we think are the good guys anyway that are involved in it, right? Wouldn't we be shocked by that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a topic that cuts so to the core of our humanity that is really seen as a conspiracy theory by people who are more level-headed theoretically, you know, who haven't dove into some of the things that we might have. That is unimaginable. It's unimaginable to me, and I know a lot about what has been done. So I think that's a topic that has to be treaded very carefully.
Yeah. Well, here's a topic that is going to make your hair stand on end. Good old Zuck. Meta is looking to bring, quote unquote, personal super intelligence to everyone because he's afraid everyone's lonely. No, Zuck, that's just you. Nobody wants to date you. I'm just sorry. It's just, you know, it's all these programmers putting this stuff out there, and they literally believe that we need robots for companion because we can't figure it out on our own with the human-to-human companionship, human-to-human relationships. That should scare you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is scary. It's scary. I mean, is it actual robots he's talking about, or just having like your own personal AI, you know, thing in your pocket?
Well, it'll be AI
like a
driven, and it doesn't really matter what the form is. It could be a phone, it could be a robot, it could be a small little robot you have on your desk. It could, you know what I mean? It could be anything. So he's talking about super intelligence, which is, you know, they're eating up all the data they can get on the internet, so that you can answer any kind of question or, you know, whatever. And why would you ever have to go to school? And you know, in school, all we do is memorize stuff, right? You don't have to do that anymore. You know? But now kids, they memorize stuff, but they don't know how to analyze.
Nope. That's one of the changes that needs to happen in our education system, for sure. And that's why it's broken. We're near the bottom as far as countries and how we rank. So
we got to be aware, because the people doing the AI and pushing it forward are kind of the misfits of society in a lot of ways. Yeah, okay, brilliant. Some of them are really intelligent. You look at Elon, he's Asperger's, right? So he does not have the ability to have good relationship, right? That's just not part of the brain that's firing, but really intelligent in that one area that they're in. So we got to be careful because these are the guys who are driving the innovation in AI.
Well, it gets frightening when you think that they're trying to give children companions that are robots.
Yeah.
You don't need friends anymore. You don't need human friends. You need an AI companion. And they're conditioning them to think that that's true friendship. And that's scary to me.
Yeah. And the companion will never insult you, never get mad with you, never give you a hard time, but you don't grow through that. I mean, if you look at a strong relationship actually grows through conflict, right? A lot of people go, oh, I don't want to fight. It's not about the fight. It's about you setting a boundary and sticking up for what you believe. They're sticking up for what they believe. And then there's a coming together. There's an understanding, a growth that happens, right? And you don't have that if you have a milquetoast robot that's never going to argue with you. It's like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's a good idea.
No, not at all. And then less than 2 weeks, I'll be married 41 years to the same person.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I was 10 when we got married. No, I was 16. She was 17 when we got married. And yeah, it's we're still working through stuff. I mean, every day you got to commit, and to have somebody not challenge or, to agree with you all the time. It's probably nice to think about in the beginning, but it gets old after a while.
Yeah, exactly. You need the contrast to be able to grow. If you don't have the contrast, you don't grow, and that's just fact of life. All right, here's one that you guys will sink your teeth into a little bit. Oh, there she is, the cackler in chief. She's decided she's not running for California governor.
Hooray!
Hooray! Well, Lewis won't have that for competition. I don't know who's going to have on the Democrat side, but hey,
I was looking forward to that debate for sure.
Yeah, that would have been fun. She show up drunk, right?
So, I mean, yeah, she's still working behind the scenes. I mean, people say that she's looking, it's trying to set herself up for another run at the presidency. Who knows? Yeah. But the thing, my leadership will not be in elected office. So she's going to go to running some NGO or something behind the scenes, just like Obama had, so good riddance.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges, I think. If we don't go after these people and we just kick them out of office, they tend to come back like a bad penny. They come up and they show up somewhere else, right? And you don't punish them, if you don't stop them, they just keep going. They have a different title, but they're still doing the same things. That's
right.
One of the challenges we're going to have going forward here.
Right.
And Mitch said it, if we don't see, a perp walk or an arrest or something soon, I mean, you could see, just look at some of the media that we watch, and you see a lot of the podcasters and stuff. Really, the frustration's coming up. People are really frustrated that nothing's happening.
Right. And it needs to happen sooner than later.
Yeah.
Because if you just remember back, it just popped into my head that, what's the healthcare CEO, the United Healthcare CEO that got murdered, right? It was, people were looking at like the person that shot him was a hero for taking down this, big corporate thing. So, I mean, this is the type of vigilante or, attitudes that are very, very dangerous. When people start cheering for people doing crimes, to allegedly hold somebody else accountable without any, proof or anything like that. That gets into the scary part. You get into that crazy apocalyptic type of society where everybody's out for them, and that's not where we need to go at all.
Well,
Trump is a builder, right?
Good riddance to Kamala. She had her 15 minutes of fame, and I'm happy she won't be running for our governor out here.
Yeah.
We need some major changes.
Yeah, we've got to put the state back together. It is pretty much a disaster the way it is right now. Trump is a builder, so guess what he's building? Have you heard?
The new ballroom?
Yeah. 90,000. I can't imagine how big 90,000 square feet is. That's as big as some of the hotels there on the Strip in Vegas. 90,000 square foot ballroom. That's massive.
Yeah.
I guess planning some big parties.
Yeah, we don't need the lawn, the West Lawn. I guess we don't need the White House anymore. We're just gonna put a ballroom there. I wonder if he's paying for it though. I haven't figured that out.
Well, that's the thing too. These are questions that need to be asked, right? He's wanting to do this, but and then at the same breath, everybody's gotten their panties all in the wad over the expansion, the renovations that are being done at the Fed. That was a great troll for Trump when they were touring those things, and he pulled that paper out. No, it's over $3 billion. The guy's like, no, it's $2.7 billion. Here's the receipt. So he totally drugged that, trolled that guy right on live television. But yeah, we're getting all worked up over billions of dollars of renovations to the Fed. So I wonder how much that's going to cost to renovate the White House.
Yeah. And will they build it in the same style of the White House, or will they do it a more modern style?
I think he's going to turn it into the Gold House.
Ah, yes. And the Trump name will be forever emblazoned in stone, right?
Right.
It'll always be the Trump White House, I guess, at that point. He bought it,
Yeah. Well, and that's what Mar-a-Lago is. It's the Southern White House. I mean,
Yeah.
It's got skiffs and there's stuff in there that ain't a normal building. So yeah.
All right. Something off topic a little bit here. Sophie Cunningham. You know the name?
Yes, for sure.
There you go. Caitlin Clark's enforcer admits opposing teams want to punish Clark, the insane WNBA's golden goose. Why are they allowing this to happen? Do they not want to be successful as a league? What's going on here?
Talk about dysfunction, right?
Yeah, massive, huh?
Unbelievable. Well, I think there's a racial aspect to it, a jealousy aspect to it, all kinds of. You would think that they would be applauding her. Where they've come just in the last year, they went from flying Spirit Airlines to getting first class, having private flights,
Yep.
hotels, supposedly, a couple of $1 billion in value, but they don't turn a profit. So without the NBA supporting it, they would not be in business. And so, yeah, I think she's going to leave. They're going to pound her physically to the point where she's going to, Caitlin Clark will probably leave. And if she does, kiss it goodbye. But Sophie's my new squeeze. She's adorable.
Careful, she can squeeze you hard, crack a rib there.
You know what? She's been a Taekwondo master since she's 6 years old.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
But there's even you can even think about that. I mean, am I thinking too deep? Am I going too dark on this one? Is with the WNBA, and they're allowing the African American players to beat up on the white player all the time with no repercussion. And look what just happened recently in Cincinnati with the African American people beating up on white people and basically get away with the cops doing nothing. Is this a subliminal message that they're putting it's okay for black people to beat up white people? Are we supposed to continue to be ashamed of our whiteness and our white privilege? Is this what's going on here? I don't know. It doesn't make any business sense whatsoever.
No, it doesn't. I have a corollary to this because it happens in the only sport that I watch is hockey. They kind of do the same thing. They always target the superstar on the other team. And, in hockey, it's a little different because you do have more enforcers there and they will drop the gloves and fight, because you go to a fight and a hockey game breaks out. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? So hockey is a little bit of a different sport, but, you see the same behavior there. And I don't know that it's punished any different than if they were taking out somebody who wasn't a superstar. Not that I'm aware of anyway.
No, the stuff that they're doing with Caitlin Clark is way over the top. It's not normal, bodying or, jockeying for position. I mean, these are deliberate takedown, hurt somebody type hits that they're putting on this girl because she's white and she can whoop their ass.
She's broken every record that
Oh, yeah.
could be broken, right? I mean, she's an incredible player.
Yeah.
And then the question is Caitlin Clark really a female? I don't know.
Oh, now we're going down that rabbit hole.
They're adult dudes. That one's from my friend Doug.
He's not Brittany Griner, who is a dude.
That's right. Fauci lands a denim deal. Did you know that?
Oh, are you serious? You're joking? Okay.
Gene therapy. There you go.
That's mean, right?
Oh, that's so horrible to look at, isn't it? I got to take this off the screen. It's ugly.
That is mean. Is that not mean?
I'm traumatized. I need some counseling.
God. Yeah. The question is he going down?
You think that would be talking about low-hanging fruit?
Really?
That
guy has been murdering people since the 70s with the whole
but
AIDS
the
thing.
FDA just approved the next spike mRNA vaccine for COVID just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but there's some,
We're not
there's
out of
some
the woods
details
yet.
to that.
What's that?
There's some details that came out about that recently.
Yeah,
that guy's
he did it
gone.
while RFK was on vacation. He did
Yeah.
it solo, and you know, that came out in the news today. But you know, it shows we're clearly not out of the woods. That people think, oh, we're there. You know, we got RFK in there. It like Mitch said, it's one guy. You know, and you have Department of Justice. You have Pam Bondi, and you have 115,000 employees. How much power does she really have over all of this? Right. Same thing at with RFK. He's HHS. He's up above everybody. He doesn't know all those employees. FDA is massive.
Right. Did they rescind the approval since it was, I
Not
don't
yet.
know. Did he have the authority to approve? I don't know.
Apparently he did because he approved it. He rubber stamped it. Off it went. Yeah. You know, that always brings up the aspartame conversation for me. That product was not supposed to be approved by the FDA. But what happened was manufacturers started to use it. And by the time it went up for approval of the FDA, there were already 5,000 products on the market that were using it. And the lobby was so strong, the FDA caved and approved it.
So it's not about health and safety.
It's about dollars, right? Dollars, people, profits over people is what it always tends to be. And yeah, be looking forward to that ending anytime soon.
If you want to get off of aspartame, you should get onto Dulce.
Yes.
Yeah. Get away from any of that synthetic sugar stuff. Get Dulce. It's the real deal.
I've been using it every day. I'm really enjoying it. You
Good.
know, it's just sweet enough. It's not too sweet. And you know, I've been using stevia for years, and then I learned some things about stevia that you probably don't want to be using stevia every day. You know, so this is a much better mix. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. I got to do a video on that. That's sort of on the plan to do a little intro on that because I think it's something worth talking about. But that brings us today to the end of our little sojourn here. Guys, I really appreciate having you both here. This was a lot of fun.
Thank
Me
you
too. I'm glad you included us.
Yes, very
Wouldn't
nice.
have it any other way, Bruce. And Mitch is always, one of those people who comes on for the premiere show of anything that I try. Mitch is always like the first guest. He christens the show.
Happy to do it, Robert.
I appreciate you, Mitch, and we'll get together real soon. I know we have a potential here in 2 weeks to have some lunch, so I look forward to doing that.
Yep, let's do it.
And folks, thank you so much for being part of the show today. We appreciate all of you. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and followers. We do appreciate that. It helps us out a lot. And we'll be back on Monday for the movement, and we'll be here again next Thursday for the next episode number 2 of this new show, Thursday Throwdown. I love the name too, Thursday Throwdown.
I love it. Yeah, it's
I love
great.
it. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
See you, Bob.